Good afternoon. I wanted to start by welcoming everybody to this very special event for us to mark Bhaskar's retirement. Welcome to all his friends, colleagues, ex-students, extended family. To be honest, we don't know what it means for people like Bhaskar to retire. And rather than me attempting to interpret what retirement means, I think through the talks and comments that we are going to hear from the many folks who Bhaskar has touched in a lot of different ways, we'll maybe develop a common sense of what does it really mean to retire. My favorite definition of retirement is really the beginning of something new. And no better time to go back to the past to figure out what the future might have in store for us. So even though we are here to talk about Bhaskar and recognize him and remember him, I think we're all going to make the mistake of drawing attention to ourselves a little bit. So when I arrived on campus, this was before the days of email, the campus used to hand people a telephone book. And I noticed that there was another Rao on campus in engineering, but not in electrical engineering at the time. That Rao had an interesting name. It was D.V.B. Rao back then. And I remember looking up what D.V.B. Rao actually spelled out. It stood for Dharani Pragada Vinayaka Bhaskar Rao. And I bet nobody else is going to delve into this detail. What does his name actually mean? I checked with my friends who have better mastery of Sanskrit than I do. So Dharani Pragada. Dharani is the earth, and Pragada by consensus is he who rules the earth. So top dude. Vinayaka. Vinayaka can be translated in more ways than one, as in many Sanskrit words, but one of the interpretations is also the head man. Bhaskar, so he decided, Bhaskar's extended family is all here now. So we know him as Bhaskar. And what does Bhaskar mean? Bhaskar quite literally means the sun. And so no surprise that Bhaskar and his lovely wife, Krishnaveni, named their eldest daughter Dipta, who's here with us. So continuing in my somewhat non-linear digression here, who actually helped connect me and Bhaskar together is another friend of ours and a UCSD alum sitting in the back, Krishna. We know him as Krish, Radhakrishna Chilukuri, who just gotten his PhD from the Ames department. But here's something you didn't know. Krish, I didn't know at the time himself, but he got appointed to the search committee for the provost of 6th College back then. And he displayed great wisdom and insight in spotting and getting married to Lakshmi Chilukuri, who many of us know as the provost of 6th College. So Lakshmi and Krish have a daughter who is classmates with Sandipta, so it's a small world. I partly bring up Krish's name in the context of the role of alumni in helping with the legacy that our faculty established. So more on that theme. Delighted also to see Nagamani here. Bhaskar comes from a rather large family. You'd be surprised how many siblings he has. And one of his siblings, Nagamani, who is here, attended UCSD herself in the applied math department. And more to the point, in the hallways of Jacobs Hall, she met her future husband, Krishna, who's also here with us. And they are married now, 2 children, both of whom I'm told were admitted into UCSD but chose to go somewhere else. So Bhaskar's extended family has lots of connections with UCSD, and I don't think it's going to end. We have a set of comments that have been prepared. There's going to be a number of us that are going to be taking turns stepping through the program for the day. I think next up is our dean, Al Pisano. He'll be sharing some comments. Al?
All right, now don't be overly generous. I don't need applause just to be able to climb 2 stairs and stand in front of a microphone. But hey, I'll take it. So first off, Bhaskar, where are you? I can't, oh, there you are. All right, you weren't hiding. All right, never mind. No, I got it. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm Al Pisano. I'm the dean here for the last 10 years. I anticipate being here for quite a while longer. And I wanted to point out a couple of important things about our good friend and colleague, Bhaskar. So first off, for 30 years, we don't have any overlap because I was busy at Berkeley at the time, and I went to Berkeley in '83 when you came here in '83. I think you may have made a better choice, and I do fully admit that because it took me 30 years to wise up and come on down and join you here. Most of you will be able to speak to a lot of nostalgia and historical things that I cannot because I'm a relative newcomer to the campus. So let me say a few things about where we are now because of the foundations that Bhaskar has laid for us and where we're going to go. So the first thing is, hey, am I doing something wrong? You're retiring. We started in the UC system at the same time. I'll talk to you afterwards about some retirement advice. You're checking out after 40 years, which we'll see if you really do check out. The second important thing I want to say is Bhaskar led the Center for Wireless Communications. And if you ask anyone in the country what 2 or 3 things the Jacob School is famous for, they'll always start with wireless. Then if they think, they'll say, oh yeah, right, materials and bio as well. But they always start with wireless. And I have a funny feeling that when you were the director there, you did a lot of good things to get us going. And there's just one more thing I want to add, and then I'll cede time so that we get a little bit more on schedule. The foundations you laid and the enthusiasm you conveyed to your colleagues has turned into something wonderful. So this news is officially embargoed until October 17, but we can chat about it among ourselves, which is the Jacob School of Engineering, with the efforts of all your friends in wireless, are now part of the California Dreams SoCal Hub for wireless communications, funded by the Department of Defense Microelectronics Commons. And that award is a very important award, and I think you're going to like when I give you some of the details. So I was a DARPA program manager for a few years. I had my own opinions about whether the government funded research correctly. This contract is a pretty good contract. The first part of the contract is going to be almost $3 million a year. No, almost $4 million a year. No, $3.1 million a year for 5 years for us to establish that we can invent in our minds, reduce to design, optimize, build, characterize, test new chips for wireless communications. We would have never won that big grant if it wasn't for the foundation that we had. And there are many people in the room that helped, but I think we have to acknowledge the boss man as you were crowned a little bit while ago for your positive contributions there. And I'll end by saying, you know, there are contracts in this school that are bigger than that, so why am I so excited about this? And it's not about the money, it was about the competition. But there's a second half to this that few people realize. Only those schools that are part of these microelectronics hubs can now write proposals for a special $800 million fund for new chips for wireless and other topics. So I'll point to the future, which is, wow, for Bhaskar and all his colleagues in wireless, but Bhaskar, today is your day. This school is on the verge of being able to do something tens of times bigger than you may have ever imagined. So for putting us on that track, thank you. For working with everyone and making sure everyone else is on the track, thank you. And I'm hoping you don't go too far because, hey, if you want to recall, I think we can afford it now. No problem. We'd love for you to stay close because I think there's there is ever more wonderful things that we're hoping to have as the two of us, you and our school, maintain a wonderful relationship. So thank you very, very much.
So welcome, everybody. My name is Bill Lin. I'm the Department Chair of Electrical and Computer Engineering Department. So I want to tell a story about ECE department culture, but it really is a story about Bhaskar Rao. So I have three parts to this department culture story, and you'll see that Bhaskar plays a central role in each of these parts. I think we are all very proud in ECE to really have a department culture of people stepping up to contribute to things wherever is needed and whenever is needed. I think we're very fortunate as a department to have people always looking ahead, looking out for each other to solve problems and just generally looking out for each other. This is the department culture that we have, and I think very few departments have this level of culture and strength. And this is really a story about Bhaskar, because I think this is the reason, Bhaskar is the reason why we have this culture. Through my time as department chair, Bhaskar has done so much for the department. I think I'm very fortunate to have Bhaskar to call upon for advice. And I think over the last several years, including through the pandemic, and a lot of growing that we've done in the department in terms of new faculty and changing, Bhaskar has been an incredible source of information for me to call upon to ask for advice in very difficult situations sometimes. And he always has the most insightful answers or insightful feedback to help me. I think as a department, I have the pleasure that whenever I ask somebody in the faculty to do something, they always say yes. And I think this is because Bhaskar always say yes to all requests from me and from other people in the department. And so the department culture, the service culture is really a story about Bhaskar. I can go through the long number of things that he's contributed to, but I think some of the more difficult ones, he's been the key member of the faculty council, which is the advisory council to the department chair. He's been the key member of what we call the academic personnel, or EC CAP, and that's a very challenging task. But overall, I think we are very proud in our department that we have an incredible service culture and people stepping up. And I can only thank Bhaskar for it, because I think the reason why people step up is because they think it's the norm, because they see Bhaskar stepping up and they said, it must be the thing to do. And I think this is a very big part of our department culture. The second part of the story is the teaching culture. I think we have the best teachers in my department. And we have incredible teachers, people that really care about our students, but not just so that they can get by the class, but our faculty really cares about students really understanding difficult fundamentals. And I have the pleasure of reading some of the evaluations from classes that Bhaskar has taught. And students many times would say something to the effect that Professor Rao taught them very difficult subjects, very difficult concepts, but in surprisingly intuitive ways. And when I say difficult, I mean these are things with a lot of math that would seem like foreign language to most people. And I think a very big part of our teaching culture is because of Bhaskar's examples that he's set forth in his many years with the department. And so I think we have lots to thank Bhaskar for that. And then I think the last part of the story is really the story about mentoring culture. I think Bhaskar has been a mentor to all of our new faculty, particularly in the areas in applied math. And I think those of you in the audience that have had the pleasure of having Bhaskar mentor you will know how deeply meaningful that is. I think Bhaskar truly cares about the careers of our colleagues, and for the many faculty that he mentored, I think he truly cared about their success and their growth in the department. And I would say that this is a standard part of our department culture. I think some of the people I see in the audience, I think you are mentoring your students, your PhD students that are going into academia in the same way. And I think that this mentoring culture is all because it's a story about Bhaskar. So I think we should give him rounds of applause for contributing to all three facets of these cultures. So it's then very befitting because Bhaskar cares about the department so much that he has created a new endowed fund for teaching support that you'll hear more about hopefully later today. And that just gives you the idea of how much Bhaskar cares about the department. But this is an endowed fund based on his generous donation, and hopefully others can add to this fund. But the goal of this fund is based on Bhaskar's own view that many of our PhD students will become great professors and will do great things in research and academia, but they should also be great teachers and great mentors. And the purpose of this endowed fund is to create opportunities for PhD students in their final years who have a goal of becoming professors in academia to be able to somehow get more mentorship of how to become better teachers. And I think there are several mechanisms that we've discussed, but one of the mechanisms is not for them to be TAs, which sort of at particular hours, but have them have opportunities to teach and have other faculty to be able to give them feedback on the lectures that they give, so that they have more of a mentoring experience rather than as a task, so forth. So I'm very excited that we have this Bhaskar Rao Teaching Support Endowed Fund that we're establishing. So with that, I look forward to many, many more years of contributions from Bhaskar. Bhaskar is as far as I know, the first professor of graduate studies in the School of Engineering. This is a new title, and I think with that title, we expect Bhaskar to put in several more decades of a contribution. So this should be renamed as not a retirement party, but a transition symposium. Thank you very much, Bhaskar, for all your contributions to the department.